Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony.
Hi, my name's Annette Benning, and I'm Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees of the Actors Fund. We are a national organization whose mission is to support everyone who works in the entertainment community, not just actors, with programs from healthcare to housing that promote resiliency and stability in a business that is anything but stable. We do this every day, but our work is particularly important during extraordinary times such as this past year. From the beginning of the pandemic in early 2020 until now, the fund has distributed nearly $20 million in emergency financial aid to members of our community from all over this country who have been devastated by the effects of COVID. For those...
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank veteran actress Annette Benning for delivering a strong message about the organization that we'll be talking with today. Now, this group is called the Actors Fund. Here today to share the knowledge that they have for actors, actresses, and others is the Executive Director for the Western Region. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Keith McNutt. Keith,
hi, Ron.
Bless you.
Hi,
how you doing, my friend? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So the Actors Choice. First of all, how long have you been with the Actors Fund?
This is my 25th year, Ron.
Oh, when I read that, I went, wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what made you join them?
Well, I always had tremendous gratitude for people in the arts because when I was young growing up, I was like the stereotypical gay kid in a small Midwestern town, about 8,000 people, where being gay was not a good thing. I didn't even understand it at the time, but I knew I could turn on my radio and listen to some Motown, or I could turn on the TV and watch Carol Burnett and feel good and happy and feel like there was more out there. And so when I became a social worker, it was in the middle of the AIDS pandemic, and the first pandemic we lived through in our lifetimes. And so I really wanted to do AIDS work, and everybody said, well, the Actors Fund is the best place to do it. And so I felt like it was a great way to give back to the community that had given me so much over the years.
Okay. You said community. What was the name of that community you came from, sir?
The gay and lesbian community, or the entertainment community.
Where were you born at and raised at?
Oh, Ohio.
Ohio, what city?
Bellevue, Ohio.
Yeah, Bellevue, that's Bellevue.
When I lived in New York, all my friends thought that was very funny.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. Because there's a hospital in New York City called Bellevue, isn't it?
There is, and they do a lot of mental health work.
Yes, they do. I was a great patient of it. I'm from New York City. I was born and raised there. Went to Bellevue several times in my life. Now, you're up front. We saw the logo for the Actors Fund, which says a lot, don't you think?
It does. And it's really important for all of your audience to know that we don't just help actors. We help everybody who works in performing arts or entertainment professionally. Back in the 1800s when we were created, actor was a generic term because all people knew about it back in the day was these acting companies and troupes that would travel around on the trains and horse and buggies into their town, put on a show. And it didn't matter if you were a singer, a dancer, a director, a writer, you were all actors. So even then it meant everybody in the business. It just, we had to spell it out now.
Got you. What is the mission of the organization, sir?
Our mission is really twofold. One side of what we do is about being a safety net for people in times of need or crisis. The other half of what we do is help people build a more stable and resilient lifetime in the arts.
Okay. Just for the record, how many actors and actresses do you know of?
Do I know of? Well, I know that the SAG-AFTRA union, for example, which is the Film and Television Union, has about 120,000 members across the country. So we're talking a lot more than that when you include Actors Equity Association, the Union for Stage Performers around the country. You're talking probably a couple 100,000 at least.
A whole bunch of stars, indeed.
Yes,
Indeed.
a whole bunch of stars.
Right, indeed. Now, these actors and actresses, they're just like everybody else, you know. They have to live, they work. And when we see an actor working, that's one of the best things that I love to see. Now, I understand that the median income for actors and actresses is $5,000 a year. My goodness, try living here in Los Angeles, California on that kind of salary. What you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly why we exist, and that's why we exist in even in good prosperous times, because the earnings of a performer are up and down and up and down. Even once you're established, you may go a year without booking a gig. So people have to learn how to really manage their money. They have to get the most affordable housing they can get. They have to have sideline gigs. It's a lot of unique challenges for people whose passion is the arts.
Got you. I also understand that in order to receive health benefits, you have to make at least $17,000 a year. Again, how can they make it?
Well, that's the reason that it's a very small percentage of union members. I think you're talking about union benefits. And so it's a very small number of people, percentage of members who qualify every year. That's why our health insurance program was created, actually, to help people find affordable health insurance options if they don't get it through like an employer, like a studio, or through their union. So we work with the Medi-Cal system, the Medicaid system around the country, the Affordable Care Act plans, Medicare plans, to try and connect people with the best plan for their medications, their illnesses, and their doctors.
Got you. As you know, all actors and actresses, they don't make the big bucks like the A-list actors and actresses that we see every day. But they're so dedicated. That's what I love about them. Actors and actresses are dedicated. I love it.
They are. You know, they're doing work that's really essential for the country, for our culture, for our progress, our understanding, our knowledge, our entertainment, our comfort. It's so many things that they do. And, you know, I often tell people, you know, we would never tell a teacher who's chosen a noble profession that they know doesn't pay that great, why don't you get a real job? Nobody ever says that to a teacher. But for some reason, we think we can say that to performers. But I think what we should really be doing is saying thank you and how do we support you? Because who doesn't, in this last year in particular, who hasn't gone home and turned on their favorite music or turned on the TV or, to soften the blow of what we've all been dealing with? Those are those actors, performers, writers, directors, singers who help us through the hard times.
I remember when a gentleman stood in a movie and raised a cane and the river parted and he went up on the Charlton Heston. He was up on that mountain talking to God. All these little things that get emotional in you to make you feel good. That's what actors and actresses do. You know that. You know that.
That's what they do. Where would we be without that?
Come on with it. Come on with it. The Actors Fund. Here's where you guys come in. Tell us about the leaders of the organization, please.
We have a fantastic board of trustees that is led by Brian Stokes Mitchell, you see right there, and Annette Benning. And we have B.B. Neuwirth is on our board, and Phil Bursch from Playbill, and Lee Perlman. We have all of the heads of the unions and guilds nationally on our board. And then we have a Western Council out here led by David Rambo. And Chandra Wilson just joined the trustees. So we have some fantastic people in our leadership.
Sounds like some superstars you got there. Really, really. Why is your work so vital? So vital to be done?
I think that a lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to have a lifetime career in the performing arts and entertainment. And as you mentioned, the average wages are actually not the level of the people living in the Hollywood Hills. They're pretty middle class, and even on the lower end of the income spectrum, particularly if you're talking about dancers or comedians or, who are working these small gigs in small clubs around the country. And so we believe, first of all, that the arts are essential. Not that they're a nice little addition, but they're an essential part of our culture. And we understand the difficulty of earning a living and keeping with it for your career. So we believe that it's our role, our duty, our responsibility to support them in as many ways as we can.
Okay. So how do you help them? How do you get help?
Well, anybody who needs assistance, particularly in these days around recovering from the COVID period, they can go onto our website, actorsfund.org. And if you're still experiencing any kind of, if you don't have enough money to pay your rent or your doctor bills or things like that, you can apply for a grant. We're still providing grants. And, in a normal year, we do about $2 million a year in grants around the country. And last year, since the pandemic began, we just crossed $23 million in grants to about 17,000 people. And so that's 10 times the volume of what we do. And we're still helping people. We still want people to know that. And we want them to tell their friends because, it's not an easy thing to ask for help. These are all professionals who are devoting their life to their careers. It doesn't feel good to ask for help, but we want you to know that we understand what life in this business is like. And we want you to know that your colleagues are coming out in droves to give money so that we can support you if you're in need. So please call us.
Is there any other organization like you?
There are quite a few what we call sibling organizations now. So they tend to focus on one particular aspect of the business. So for example, Music Cares helps musicians all around the country. Or the Motion Picture Television Fund helps people who work in motion picture television in Southern California. The Actors Fund is the only one that's an umbrella over all the categories. So we help everybody in every discipline. So it's radio, TV, film, music, opera, dance, and theater, everywhere in the country. So if you're working in the arts, whether it's on stage or behind the scenes, behind the camera, in the writing rooms, any aspect of it, we're there to help.
We got a picture here of Morgan Freeman, and he's got a couple of things that he'd like to say. He says, great work of the Actors Fund.
It's a little too small for me. You
okay, I'm getting you. He says, he said, for the last 60 years, my colleagues have helped me make it through the way. That's what he's saying, basically. And that's beautiful. To know that someone is there to help you out. I call him the invisible man or woman, but thank y'all, Keith. Thank you very much for what you do. Thank you, what you do.
And, people like Morgan are the backbone of the organization because they take their time. Yes. Morgan came to a house party a couple of years ago where we were raising some money, and he sat and he talked to every person who came to the party, just so gracious and generous with his time and kind and just a lovely human being. And we're blessed with many of those here.
Gotcha. The Actors Fund does serve the diverse needs of the entertainment community. It's an impact that you guys have.
Yes, we do. We program by program. Of course, like I said, it's all disciplines all across the country. Yes. But we also serve a very diverse group, racial and ethnically. We serve anywhere between 30 and 40% in any given year of people of color, which we know that people of color suffered more during the pandemic. It hit those communities harder. And so we obviously saw an increase in those communities coming to us for assistance. And we're really glad that we're able to help. And again, we want to get that word out so more and more people who might not have thought that an organization called the Actors Fund could help them, we want them to know that we are here.
What's a typical day like for you? You go to work, what's it like for you?
Well, I think my day might be like a lot of people's days right now. I sit here and I look at this screen. I have lots of Zoom meetings all day long. But my days in particular, and when we're not, stuck in our bedrooms at home, our little offices, I'm out in the community a lot. I meet with a lot of the union folks, producers, people who support us, people who are trying to get the word out. I spent a lot of time with our Western Council, trying to figure out how to do more outreach to the community so they know they can come to get us, they come to get help from us. And then planning events and, fun things that a lot of people participate in. We try and support those as much as we can.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever call this gentleman, you'll have a lady by the name of Lisa Calandriello. She's his executive assistant. That lady, I called her up and she helped me. So, oh, wonderful lady. Thank her, thank her, thank her. Good folks like that, we need to say thank you.
She's fantastic.
She's background. Indeed. Uh, let's see. There's a project here. You talk about different projects that you guys get into. One of them is Stars in the House. Can you tell us about that, please, sir?
Yes. So talk about beautiful people in our network. So Seth Rudetsky and James Wesley started like the week the pandemic started. They said, how can we help? And these guys have been on Broadway their whole lives and they have deep roots in the community. And so they started producing a show actually following the Broadway schedule. So they were doing matinee shows and evening shows, and they were just calling all of their friends, doing interviews, maybe doing some songs, some music, some jokes, just a fun hour of conversation that helped people around the country feel like there was still a piece of Broadway going on. And, they were really living that mantra, the show must go on. So they did nightly shows and have done them ever since the pandemic started. And a couple of months ago, they crossed the $1 million mark of raising money. So it's a great show to just look in. You can go on online and see all of the past shows, or tune in and see them as they continue.
Gotcha. By the way, speaking of pandemic, you recently had a survey of clients to see how the pandemic impacted on them. How did that work out?
We did. We had about 40,000 people that we helped over the course of the pandemic, not just with financial assistance, but our counseling and our support groups and all of that. And we had about 7,000 around the country that responded, which was a tremendous turnout. But what it really underscored for us was the deep impact of the pandemic on people's employment. 80% said that it had affected their mental health. And, over 10% of the people in California and Los Angeles left the state because they could no longer afford their rent without the income coming in. 60% had lost jobs directly in the industry or lost their sideline work. And I think, as you know well, our community is definitely one that relies not just on their main income stream in their craft, but they usually have a couple of other side gigs going on. Yes. And they lost those, whether it's, driving Uber or waiting tables or working retail or doing physical, Pilates and physical training, personal training, things like that. All those jobs went away. So the survey really underscored that, and I told you I'd get you a few other numbers.
Go for it.
From the Otis report on the creative economy. That's a fascinating study if anybody looks at that. In the state of California, usually there's about 2.7 million jobs in the creative economy in California, which is $650 billion worth of economic activity. In the pandemic, we lost 507 of those jobs. So, it's just a huge impact on the state, and I'm sure on creative communities all over the country.
Those actors and actresses, they use that word virtual. They use a heck out of it, didn't they?
Yes.
For the last year and a half.
Sure did.
They sure have. Wow.
Very creative folks.
Yes. There, you mentioned around the country. Are there any other offices of your organization, the Actors Fund, around the country?
Yes. So our headquarters is in New York, and then the second largest office is out here in LA. Then we have an office in Chicago, and we have our nursing home and assisted living facility in Inglewood, New Jersey. Okay.
Can you talk about that last one that you talked about, that hospital?
Yeah, so the nursing home is a beautiful facility. It actually just completed a $30 million renovation about 9 months to a year before the pandemic started. And so it's really for businesses. It's got, full nursing care facility, assisted living. It's got a memory care unit. It's got a physical rehab. So it's got over 160 beds now, and it serves anybody in the industry and their direct family, their immediate family members. And I will say that Jordan Stroll, who's our administrator, is just one of the most amazing administrators around. He was very well prepared for the pandemic. He was stocked up with everything he needed, and we haven't had a COVID infection there since April, the April of the pandemic starting. So we're really just so happy that the loss of life was kept at a real minimum and that we've kept everybody safe. I know nursing homes have had a really terrible time, probably the worst time of anybody in this whole pandemic. But we've been able to keep our folks safe.
You said this hospital is in nursing home, I'm sorry, is in New Jersey, right?
Yes, it is.
Any plans to bring one out here in Los Angeles?
Not at the moment. There is the Motion Picture Television Fund has a smaller facility out here and also assisted living. So since they already have one out here, we didn't feel the need to bring one to Los Angeles.
Okay, November 1st, you got a big Stars in the House, another benefit for your organization. I'm sorry, the gala. You have the gala, the stars,
yes.
And then the gala.
The gala is fantastic. It's going to be really exciting. We were thinking maybe it would be our first in-person human event, but as things happen, that's not going to be the case. But we're honoring Debbie Allen, who joined our board last year, and everybody knows and loves Debbie, admires her. Nico Almale, Stacy Mindich, a Broadway producer, and of course Seth and James from Stars in the House. So tickets are still available. If anybody wants to support us, that's a great way to do it and have a lot of fun too.
You get any support from the United States government or the state of California?
So not for our services, because our services are focused on a specific community. And in order to get government assistance, you have to be available to everybody. The exceptions to that are for the affordable housing we build. Because there are exceptions to be able to build artist housing across the country through tax credits from the federal government. So, for example, we're building this Hollywood Arts Collective. I know you want to talk about that.
Yes, please. Go right ahead.
Now I can do it now. So we have, this will be our fourth residence that we're building in addition to the nursing home. We have a 212 apartment building in Brooklyn, which is half for people in entertainment and half people recovering from being unhoused, coming from the streets. We have a 178 unit apartment building in Manhattan, which is for seniors, people living with HIV, and low income working people. We have a 40 unit apartment building out here in West Hollywood for people with disabilities in the industry. And then we're building this new one on Hollywood Boulevard. This will be 151 apartments. Yes, very exciting.
If Johnny Grant could see that, he'd turn over in his grave.
I know.
Oh,
I
gosh.
wish I could have met him. He seemed like a character.
He was. Nice guy. Yeah, nice guy.
Yeah, like great guy. And it's going to be 151 apartments for low-income working people in the performing arts. And it's going to have an arts building with 2 galleries, a small theater, 71-seat theater, and it's going to become our new home in Hollywood. So we'll have our training center there and our offices, and we'll be providing all of our financial wellness counseling and our parallel career education groups. All those kinds of services are going to be brought to that space.
All I can say, thank you, thank you, thank you. The struggle continues. Thank you for what you guys are doing. Thank you so much. Quick last question, sir. How can people contact you?
They can contact me at my email is kmcnutt@actorsfund.org, or they can go to our website to look at any of the services, actorsfund.org.
Okay, so and you got that website, you get that beautiful website.
Yes, and there's lots of services. Just keep in mind there's the emergency services that people know about, but there's a lot of other stuff. We have a whole suite of support groups that we created after George Floyd's murder to help people coping with the emotional fallout of seeing what's happening in our country and being in this industry. We have groups on anxiety and depression because we know that's been a big part of the pandemic. We have all of our money management groups. So there's a ton of stuff. and everybody can access it wherever you are in the country now.
A lot of information on there. And it's good to have that information because people today say, what do I have? Who can I turn to?
Yeah,
You
you
can
need
turn to the
community.
Actors Fund. Yes.
We need community at all times, but in particular right now for so many reasons.
Wow. Well, Keith, all I got to say is thank you very, very much for coming in today. Again, as we said, I want to thank you so much for what you had to say. And I hope that people picked up that information about the Actors Fund and how to get in touch with it and how to be a part of it. And by the way, again, for the second time, I want to thank your executive assistant, Lisa, for doing what she does. She is the best. She is the best.
She is the best, Ron. And it's really been my privilege to meet you and get to speak with you. And I wish you all the best too.
Anytime you want to come back and give us some updates and let people know what's going on with your organization, we're down for that.
Happy to do it. All right. You all take care.
Take care of yourself. Right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith McNutt from the Actors Fund. Indeed. We'd like to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that we're asking our Actors Choice Squad to help us get former baseball player Curt Flood into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, Curt passed away January 20th, 1997. He was a husband of one of our wonderful, wonderful guests, renowned actress Judy Pace. So all you got to do is take our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/The Actors Choice, or our website located at www.theactorschoice.org/get-Curt-Flood-into-the-MLB-, or you can do it the simple way. Call our office, if you would, ladies and gentlemen, 213-349-3941. That's 213-349-3941. Now, we sincerely thank each and every one of our people out there for being part of this magnificent award for a great baseball player. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, our next scheduled guest was actress Rhonda Bangstrom. She called me late last night, letting me know that she had to be on the set today. This happens in this business, and she could not be here. But we'll have a return at a later date. All I got to say is one thing: actors working. I love it. I love it. I love it. Tony, roll it.
Poinsettia Park is one of the three most primary foundational realities of my artistic life.
Poinsettia Park is the point of departure for the talent that was here in Los Angeles.
Poinsettia Park means to me that we had an opportunity as African American brothers to come together during the 70s and work with each other, try to support each other and build each other up. And during that time, by the way, there was talk to make a movie about our experience here.
Okay, our next guest today was here to tell a story. Let's see, I understand that he's not here yet. He's calling us from St. Louis, Missouri, and he's not here yet. But in the meantime, what you just saw was a park in West Hollywood called Poinsettia. Now, after today, you'll know a little bit about what's happening there and who did it. Gentleman who was supposed to be here with us was Rick Nelson. Rick, I'm calling you. If you're there, please step forward, step up to the plate. I want to hear what you got to say. It gives us a good opportunity to let people know what's going on in the world out there today. I will tell you that a bunch of actors and actresses who've been around for a long, long time, all blacks, if you will, they gathered in this park in West Hollywood and had a get-together. And the reason they had a get-together was to get together and talk and trade off notes and see how you're doing, how he's doing, are you getting the word, or he's not getting the word, whatever the case may be. But you've seen some good people out there like Thomas C. Eubanks came there in the 70s. They had the first union took place in the 70s. And there's Thomas E. Eubanks there. All right, thank you. And other people like Marvin Gaye was there. You know Marvin Gaye from Motown, even though he was a singer, he would get out there and he'd mess around a little bit and play a little basketball, but just like to hang out with people. Sidney Poitier came out in the 1970s for this first time they ever got together. Arthur Ashe came out. Sam Watson, these are people who came out there. There's Sidney. And of course, holding that guy. What's that guy's name? Oh yeah, Oscar. That guy. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, Sam Watson came out, and he's another person who came out in that time frame to just meet. And then they decided that they would have there's Sam. There he is. How you doing, Sam? Good guy. If you ever meet him, real good guy. Then in 2020, the organization got together and made a reunion. And a lot of people came, like Ernest Hardin Jr., who has the distinction, besides being a nice guy. When we started this series, ladies and gentlemen, Ernest Hardin Jr., if you can show a picture, he was the first guest we ever had on this show. I remember him deeply because I said to myself, there he is, that handsome young man. He was the first guest we had 5 years ago, and he's still in our hearts all the time. He came here back. They got together for another reunion in 2020. Ren Brown came. The ghost is here. The guest, let's say guest here. Would you put him up on the screen? Let's go with it from that point. Okay. Where is that young man? I see him coming up there. I see light. Can you bring the camera down a little bit? I see the top of your head. Can you bring the camera down just a little bit there? Okay. All right, Rick, if you can bring it down just a little bit. Okay, turn your camera down just a little bit so we can see you. But there you go. Thank you. We were talking in your absence about people who came. Okay, let's start from the beginning. We showed the video. Tell us, if you would, what was that? What that video that we just saw? What was that all about?
The Point Set Apart video.
Yes.
Yeah. The 2020, we did our 45-year Point Set Apart reunion weekend, and we did Friday night meet and greet at Pitt's, and then we did Saturday picnic at the Point Set Apart picnic gathering, and 45 years. All of us who met in the 70s, we all kind of came out, the ones that are still living, and we actually celebrated our fallen soldiers, also the ones that weren't with us. And we did that weekend. It was great. And then that Sunday, we did the portion at New Townhouse at Rosalind Timmerman's place, and we celebrated that. And that Monday, we also had a breakfast, at the Monday CJ's. We gathered there. But yeah, that weekend was it was a labor of love.
Okay.
All of us who got together in those 70s, the actors, the producers, directors, and just regular people.
Got you. Now you were one of the organizers, right?
Pardon me?
You were one of the organizers, right?
Oh yes. Me and Derek Thompson, Kakai Ampla, Tony King, aka Malik Farrakhan, Chris Kaiser, Kojay Lewis, also Sam Watson, Dwight Woody, and as well as Rosalind Timmerman, and my sons Rick and Derek.
Okay.
And myself.
Sounds like you had a good group of people. What was accomplished? What did you get away from it? When you walked away from that event, what did you get out of it?
Well, what we got was we hadn't seen each other in over 30 years.
Wow.
Most of us, and what we got was basically, the camaraderie to get together and see where everybody was, and talk about the ones who weren't there, and just talk about the accomplishments that we had in our lives, and even talking about our kids that we had. We all had, some of us had kids and grandkids actually.
Right.
But but we're working on a second phase, and of course the pandemic kind of hit us kind of hard because we were thinking about coming back 6 months later, and that didn't happen. But we all kind of stayed together and talked about it, and it was it's great because we're going to continue to go ahead because Point Set Apart was a special place, in all of our hearts, and those 70s were really special in Hollywood. It kind of paved the way for even the actors today. You got guys like Sidney Poitier, Richard Roundtree, Fred Williamson, those movie guys. They produced and directed movies. And they all kind of hung out and played tennis and
backgammon. Played tennis? Yeah. Did you say tennis?
Yeah, tennis.
You play tennis, don't you, sir?
Oh yes, for years.
All right, here we go.
Actually, when I was a kid, 8 years old, I got the opportunity to get instruction from the Arthur Ashe.
Uh-huh.
Arthur Ashe went to actually one of the oldest schools, and the only one with blacks is 10 in St. Louis, and that's Sumner High School.
Yes.
Course, they had Versailles also, but when Arthur played tennis in Summer, of course he was from Virginia, and
right.
Dr. Johnson brought him in as his mentor and introduced him to Dr. Hutland in St. Louis. They know tennis in St. Louis is huge. So he came here, and his senior year, he was a great player, and UCLA gave him a scholarship. But he gave us pointers to, Jordan Caldwell and I and a few others. We were like 8, 9 years old, and we're looking up at this tall, nerdy-looking guy. Like what can he do? But hey, he became one of the greatest. Winning Wimbledon, and then I saw him later years at Poinsettia Park in the 75. He came there. Leonard Harrington, one of the tennis gurus, brought him there, and we were all kind of going crazy. It was like Arthur Ashe, and of course he didn't remember me,
right.
but tennis was huge, with my uncle Bruce Foxworth and Maurice Hunter, and those guys were pros also, and our mentors. So, and of course, everyday playing with Sidney Poitier, Jim Brown, Jim Kelly, Les McCann, Hubert Laws. I can go on and on. Even John Amos, Roger Mosley, Tony King, and Gail Fisher. Gail Fisher. She come out and play tennis. Aretha Franklin, and so it was huge. Tennis was huge.
Rick, there's a story you told me about a teacher. Can you share that with our viewers, please?
Oh, you're talking about my teacher at Kirkwood High School.
Yes.
I wanted to play. I wanted to play tennis, and he said, well, tennis is not for you. You go over there and run track with your friends. And I'm like, well, I want to play tennis. I wasn't that fast, but I could run that tennis on the tennis course. But yeah, we had those problems, coming up in Meacham Park, south of Kirkwood. We
yes.
had, it's where Black Ink Cave, where we all lived there, and but we went to Kirkwood High School, probably one of the richest communities in the United States. So we were able to utilize that education and get what they gave us. But when I became 21 years old, I headed west, California, and it was one of the best things I've ever done.
Okay. Would you take a moment and tell us a little bit about yourself? He's a busy guy, ladies and gentlemen. What do you do first of all, tell me about your city councilman thing.
Oh yeah, well, I was fortunate enough to become a city councilman here in our city. I'm in my third term, and my job is to take care of the citizens, and our seniors, our kids, and our schools, which is Normandy Collaborative. I implemented the chess programs in the schools here in all our middle schools that they have. Our schools, Obama Elemental. We've got Jefferson Elemental, Lucas Crossing, Belnor, as well as Washington. Those are elemental schools because we don't have the middle school in our high schools.
Got you.
So I figured we teach these kids as it's young, tennis, chess, golf, and they get an opportunity to get a good education and learn because those are sports where you learn and you have to watch others, because it's easier to get, it's easier to get a scholarship in tennis, chess, and golf than basketball and baseball because it's hard, or even football.
Okay. You're also a retired teacher, I'm told?
Yeah, actually, counselor. I was a detention counselor in high school, working with all the grade level principals to get our kids to, we had the DSET program in the city, actually in the state of Missouri, Kansas City and St. Louis. So we had the kids bused from the city to the county schools because of, they figured that they can get a better education, which is not totally true. A lot of them did get a good education, but I always said maybe we should bust the teachers. but the kids in the county went to the magnet schools in the city, and it wasn't quite a lot of them, but it was a good thing, and thousands of kids were bussed all over it. Some of them made it, and some of them didn't. But I think that it was good that they got a chance to live and be around the white kids as well as the black kids. So it was a good thing, and for most people, and some people just it wasn't good for them, But yeah, the school was good, and then I was able to teach tennis at school, Lindbergh High School, and currently the tennis coach at the school here in the Steams School Academy, I guess Berkeley, that's McClure, South Berkeley, and I'm girls and the boys tennis coach, along with my friend Mr. Eddie Nash. He's the head coach and I was the assistant. But it's a great program. They got Coach Rhodes over there, bringing those kids through. But yeah, tennis, chess, golf, that's what I do.
Yes.
And,
okay.
And stuff. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you had the original meeting in the 70s. Then you came back in 2020 to do something. We talked about that. But
yeah.
Now you're planning to come back again in 2022. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, yes. Well, after the pandemic, we weren't able to get back because we were thinking in terms of get back 6 months or so, but we weren't able to do it. So we're planning to get back to California 2020, January 2022, and we got lined up Denise Nicholas, Jim Brown, we've got Jim Turman, Mike Warren, among others, to interview for this Poinsettia Park.
Okay. Did you say Denise Nichols? Did I hear you say that?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yes. Good lady. She's going to be on our show next week, so you get a chance to tune in.
Oh, yeah. She was one of she was fortunate enough to get a lesson from Arthur Ashe.
Yes.
He was able to give her lessons. A tennis player, good actress also.
Yes.
Very good.
Did you tell me about Elliott Gould was also going to be there?
Yeah, Elliott Gould, he'll be there also.
All right.
Gould is one of our top players. He's a great actor, and he'll be there to interview, tell a story about Poinsettia Park. Everybody's got a story about Poinsettia.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I've got so many I could tell. But one of the good ones was playing tennis with Sidney Poitier, and he's hitting that ball all over the place. And then Jim Brown, and
Jim Brown,
Jim Kelly. Every day, we're playing tennis and people are watching, and guys like Sunday Jim Gaines sitting over the top, making side bets over here on points and stuff. But it was just a great time. Johnny Weatherspoon, he's one of our tennis alumni, and so our fallen soldiers, we really want to talk about them because they're not here, and we always have to pray for their families and think about them because they paved the way for a lot of the actors. John Amos, of course, he's still living. Les Can, it's just so many. Also, my St. Louis friend, Fred Rewan, Raj and Shirley Hemphill. When we did the nightclubs, we always had the speakeasy. A lot of the guys would go there and hang out. And we would have the cabaret downstairs. So we'd do the comedy shows. We had Snappy White, Billy Wallace, Paul Money, as well as Johnny Weatherspoon. This is when these guys were just starting. But they also had the comedy store.
Okay.
Had the guys up there.
Okay. When people come up to you and ask you, why are you doing this project? What do you tell them?
I tell them that it's long overdue. The entertainers and actors, personalities, people got to realize they're just regular people too. And they have a gift. We just felt that this is time for us to get this story out there, about what Poinsettia Park did for a lot of people. And it was a special place. And this is, like I said before, this is a labor of love for us. And Derek Thompson and I, over the years, we talked about this. And my sons were able to get that production company together and said, Dad, hey, you keep talking about this all my life, all your life and my life. Why don't you, let's go, let's do this. So, we did it, and just fortunate that Derek and Rick and Ronald Patton, My nephew, they put this company together, and they said, let's do it. So we're working on it, but we still need sponsorship. Definitely need that, you know.
Okay.
We need support in that area also. But yes, yeah, Poinsettia Park is special.
You mentioned your son, Derek Jones Nelson.
Yes.
Yes. He's besides your son, he's also a producer, a photographer, videographer. He does videographing.
Yes. Editing.
Yes.
Editing. He's got the whole package.
Okay.
He's the one who pretty much put everything.
There he is. There he is, handsome young man.
That's Derek. Yeah. Yeah. He's my second. Actually, he's my second son. I have 3 sons and a daughter. And Derek is.
Okay. He has his own business, right?
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Brain Fitted Media.
Brain Fitted. I like that name. Brain Fitted. Now, once completed, what are you going to do with the project? You going to take it around different film festivals, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, that's our plan. We have probably have to do another phase three. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that done in 22 also. But yeah, that's our plan. And on the way, I think that certain people will see how important this project is and step up and maybe support us, help us a little bit.
Right.
You know, because, and then the ones that are having interviewed, maybe they want to step up and interview, have something to say. Everybody's got something to say about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's good. That's good. Let's see what you got to say. Yes.
Yeah, Hollywood was great in the 70s, and you'll never have it like that again. Never will. We've got to put it out there.
Okay. Do you have any idea how long it's going to take you to complete this project?
Well, hopefully we'll be done by the end of 2022. Going into maybe 23, we'll have it done pretty much. You know, it takes a lot of time, and we don't want to miss out on anyone. So you know, a lot of people saw it and say, "Well, I don't know," because it's not this huge project. You know, it's like, well, it's, you know, the cameras are not rolling, and you know, don't have the big trucks coming. You know, it's like we got to have it, but it's not that hard. So, you know, just gotta be patient and just have the right people working, you know, and smart people. And I think that we have them now, and we need some help, you know.
How can people help you? How can they contact you to get if they have some funds and want to help you out? How can they do that?
Brain Fitted Media. You hit Brain Fitted Media, and I'm sure you'll be able to get all the information that you need to help us out financially, you know, mentally, physically, whichever way you can do it. You know, we need all your help, all your support.
Okay. We're a little short on time, but before we get out of here, I want to take another look at some of that video that you showed us. Roll it, Tony.
In terms of a cultural institution, for lack of another term, was major in Black Hollywood in the 70s and 80s.
Poinsettia Park was a place where you could go not only to unwind, but to learn about how to roll in Hollywood, how to roll in LA.
So you were raised under a different set of principles. You had to try to find strength in another brother because you was fighting the same war on a daily basis.
It was truly a haven. It was a safe.
Wow, to see all those people come together and mesmerize and remember all the good times they had, all some bad times, but all the good. Talk about it. Yes. You have indeed got quite a story. I can see you guys now with the cameras and the knowledge going there, shooting there, got the mic in your hand, getting them interviews. I love that kind of stuff. Love it.
Oh, it's great, Ron. Listen, I appreciate you and what you do. You're just a tremendous, genuine person. I've been following you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You working at my Santa Monica alumni, you know.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Santa Monica College, I've heard of that place. One or two times.
Very special in a lot of people's lives. So.
Okay. Any other words you'd like to tell people about, again, when this is going to happen, where it's going to be, need some money, need some support? Can you tell them that, please?
Well, like I said, January 2022. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Hollywood, probably the second week. But check me out on Facebook, Rick Nelson Facebook, and the little red sports car, the one I used to drive around Hollywood back in the 70s. I don't have that car anymore, but I do still cherish it. But I got a couple other cars.
Okay.
Blessed me with a couple other vehicles. So yes, just check me out on Facebook, and definitely check out Mr. Brewington.
Right.
We'll keep you posted on what's going on for sure.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Right. Glad you could make it out here today. Thank you, your wife and your son, and all the other people who are part of this project. Can't wait to see it. I can just see it now on the opening night with the red carpeting and everybody out there strutting their stuff. I can just see it now.
That just gives tremendous. Thank you, sir.
It's our pleasure. Oops, where'd it go? I dropped my thing there. Doggone it. Come in. I dropped my paper there with my little speech on it. Okay. Again, Rick, thank you very, very much. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography is an Art, Ron Irwin's Haiku, Style, Passion, Heart, Larry Buford's Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School and Actors Space. And much, much thanks to our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, the Executive Director, Western Region of the Actors Fund, Keith McNutt and documentarian producer Rick Nelson. And of course, special thanks to our ever-growing worldwide audience. We say be well, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.